that. Stop that. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We can't go out, man, forget my peace. You take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Not so tough, but mans keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
Happy Friday, everybody. It is the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz, without Dan or Stugotz. I'm Mike, and it is Olympic opening ceremony day. And this is actually pretty exciting because when you think about it, this is the first one of these in quite a while for us to experience. You kind of forget that there were athletes that worked their asses off and had an entire Olympics canceled. And for some athletes, that was their window. So when maybe think about that, it's a bit of a buzzkill when you watch today's opening ceremonies, in which there was a field hockey player I saw that cut off a part of his finger. He had a part of his finger amputated because if it stayed on, it would have prevented him from playing in the Olympics. So he's just like, no, chop that off, Ronnie Lott style.
Do you put it in a bowl of chili and then sue?
Said like who did that?
Some person did that.
Yeah. All right. So it's the Olympic opening ceremony.
Watch Mystery Crate. You'll find out more.
I have been watching Mystery Crate. So in my office, where I have my PS5, I've been playing, like most people my age, have been really playing CFB 25 a lot. And the default channel on that TV is DKN. So when I'm done playing the game, automatically DraftKings Network pops up on the TV. And throughout the weekends, they re-air Mystery Crate a lot. And I do love the recent trend of Mystery Crate existing as if Mike never listens to it. That's apparently very clear. Like, Mystery Crate is talk about Mike as if he's never going to know what is happening on this show.
We talk about a lot of people.
Yeah, that's generally the whole idea.
We like the idea of no one listening.
No one's listening to this.
Well, when we did play back a clip from Mystery Crate one time, you did not enjoy it.
I'm not going to say that I listen every episode, but now, because of CFB 25, I'm able to follow along. So I saw last week's episode in which it was revealed that I spoiled a surprise baby shower.
Well, we were not blaming you for that, though.
You honestly were too hard on Mike. So here's the deal for the people that didn't listen to Mystery Crate. There was a surprise baby shower. The whole office was alerted to it with a text message that said in big bold letters, surprise. So I had I'm making excuses, but I had a lot of text, and I just basically prioritized the link. So I got a present for a friend that was having the baby shower. And that's kind of the last I thought of it. And then it was the day of, and I remembered, I have a haircut appointment. Now, could I have canceled the haircut appointment and prioritized the baby shower? Yeah, but the baby shower was at 2:45. And
got to make it 1 p.m.
I'm just hanging around the office for 90 minutes. I could be doing so much in that time. I could be getting a haircut, for example. So I wanted to explain to the person that, hey, I'm not going to make this. And I was unsure as to whether or not it was a surprise. Now, this is 100% my mistake. I could have just gone back to the text message, and I just decided to ask someone in the office, Mike Fuentes, hey, I'm like 99% sure this isn't a surprise, but can you confirm that for me? And he's like, I'm like 100% sure. and that's fine. I asked somebody else. I thought enough to ask somebody else. I should have thought enough to just check the original text message or ask somebody different. But it's not Fuentes' fault. It's mine. But then there was an entire Mystery Crate episode dedicated to it, talking about me in ways that weren't flattering. And I just was uneasy. It was no one else's fault but mine.
Big man. Big man.
All right, you got to admit that when you're wrong. So what's on Mystery Crate this week for the people?
Boom! 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 We
We bring the boom to you.
Oh, those guys.
We bring the boom.
So
We got them. No, I'm kidding. We just talk about them.
They did a video with Tua.
Yeah.
We got Greg,
We played
though.
it.
Yeah, we have Greg on the second half of Mystery Crate this week. But yeah, we're kind of obsessed with Big AJ and what is it?
But AJ and Big
Yeah,
Justice.
there you go.
Maybe I'll get around to watching Mystery Crate, although I am into the Olympics, and I'm going to be watching the opening ceremonies today because they're doing it on the river. This is the first time they've done this parade of athletes on a body of water. It's a boat parade. Coco and LeBron are flag bearers for our nation, correct? So I'm excited about this. It's happening at 1:30 for the live version. I'm going to catch the live version, but this is a bit awkward for some folks in that I've been watching the Olympics for a good 3 days now, and I had noticed on the TVs that the Rugby 7 quarterfinals were going on. So we're going to have a situation in which like semifinals are set. Can you imagine if you're one of these countries that was just eliminated in the quarterfinals?
New Zealand just got eliminated. Like,
And
obviously a very
there's
good
this-
nation in rugby, and they're like,
There's this whole ceremony. They're like, and now the games can begin.
And now New Zealand's rugby team, and they're all sad.
So what are we watching for today? Because we've known from previous opening ceremonies, there's the possibility for viral moments. There was the oiled up flag bearer from 8 years ago. Some people just love the production aspects. I remember the Beijing opening ceremonies were kind of awe-inspiring. So what is everybody looking out for today? Am I the only person that is in on this? I just got a text from my wife. Like, are we recording the opening ceremonies? Are we watching it live? I'm into this.
My wife is working from home today, to watch this. I'm going home after this. We're going to watch the ceremonies. Yes. And I am super
love
excited
that.
about it. I'm a little skeptical of this boat thing, though. I like 3,000 people sauntering into a stadium. Okay, that's
You like
more my
watching
speed.
people walk around a track.
That's what I like.
It is interesting, like you said. There's I think 94 boats and 10,000 athletes, and they're all going down the Seine, and they're passing all of these like famous French landmarks, and then they're gonna end up right by the Eiffel Tower at the end. And we talked yesterday about how the dancers were going on strike. I read this morning they reached an agreement. The dancers will be there.
Whoa.
Dodged a bullet. They made an agreement with the dancers union. So I'm very excited for this. I agree with Chris. I do actually, in all earnestness, like watching them kind of walk around because you get a good view of all the different fits, which I think is like the highlight of the opening ceremony.
With a boat, it's going to be hard. Are these like
We just need-
pontoons? Am
we
I going to be able to see like head to toe?
I need someone to just do a twirl for me.
That's what I'm saying.
Does everyone just do a twirl and we'll be good?
Well, who's calling the opening ceremonies?
Got to be Tarico.
I know he's going to be hosting the 7:30 like prime time re-air of it, but I don't know who's doing the one. It's like 5 hours long.
Yeah.
It starts at
What is
1:30.
Snoop Dogg doing? What does he have to do
He's
with the
the
Olympics?
he's one of the torch bearers. I
Yeah, but
believe.
he was like doing stuff with Hoda. I think they're also a part of this.
I don't know. We'll
I
find out.
think someone saw the idea of like Snoop Dogg calling stuff, and they were like, let's implement that somehow. But we already have an Olympic scandal before the opening ceremonies that we have to get to. Now, calling it an Olympic scandal isn't necessarily on the up and up because this is a Canadian soccer scandal that apparently dates back years, but it is a tale of espionage, Billy. Are you aware that the Canadian soccer teams, both men and women, they've been using drones to spy on their opponents for apparently years now?
I didn't know it was years. I was made aware of this with the internet and the Olympics kicking the coach out of the Olympics. So I guess
I think
Canada
the Federation
suspended the coach, and then the Olympics just like removed the coach.
So I'm not sure.
Drones are involved, and they were spying on New Zealand, I believe.
Was it the Federation or the Olympics that kicked the women's national team manager?
I think they
out?
sent her home, like the team or the federation sent her home, but I'm not 100% sure. I know like right after
right.
the scandal broke, 2 assistants were sent home, and it seemed like maybe they were trying to preempt like a bigger punishment by being like, all right, well, like we got them out of here. But then as more reporting came out that this is something that has been going on prior to these Olympic Games, and in fact may go back through several Olympic cycles, it obviously appeared like it was a much, much bigger issue. And so the women's team played New Zealand yesterday. They won 2-1.
Yeah, they did.
And they're the defending gold medalists. They beat the U.S. in the last Olympics. So this is a very, very big scandal because Canada tends to do very well at the Olympics. And there are, I think, maybe the 8th highest ranked team in women's soccer. I can't remember off the top of my head what the ranking is, but they're good. They're a very good team.
Don't get too excited about that win because they might have him come back on and play the final 3 minutes like tomorrow.
We're going to get to that briefly.
We didn't talk about that.
We didn't talk about that on main show, so we got to talk about that. Jeremy, who made the call
The Canadian Olympic Committee made that call to remove her. So it was their decision, not the General Olympic Committee.
This is more of a soccer scandal than anything. Maybe the fact that there's an Olympic Federation involved, they have some more sway. This is a terrible distraction for everything. There is an American that is managing the men's national team, and he has been, since he got that job, doing it from a high horse, taking all sorts of shots at the U.S. Soccer Federation. And I wonder, he's going to be asked, now he's a relatively new hire, but he's going to be asked how much he knew about this, because this has been a practice that has been going on for both, allegedly, the men's and women's national team programs for quite a while. So I'm curious to know what Jesse Marsh says. But soccer always has these bonker scandals around it. But even in the world of soccer, I saw something so shady and sicko that I'd never seen before, and that is saying a lot, because I watch CONCACAF Champions League, folks. Like I've got fanatis. Like, I am all over the place. I know Liga MX. I know all the CONMEBOL domestic leagues, and I had seen something that I never saw in my entire life, and that was the Olympic soccer game between Argentina and Morocco.
I never bet on soccer.
This is going on. It was at 9 a.m. a couple of days ago. Morocco goes up 2-0 over Argentina, which, as you know, most dangerous lead in sports. Argentina claws, gets one back, and then, for whatever reason, for reasons that are still unclear to me, there was like 16 minutes of stoppage time added to this game. In the middle of all of this, Chris Cody, when it was 2-1, you placed a live wager on Argentina to equalize and for the game to end in a draw.
Plus 240. I was like, you know what? I got a feeling here Argentina's going to bring it back. And then we get to extra time, stoppage time, and it's like 11 minutes in. And I'm like, okay, I lose. What a bad bet. And
it was
then
a great game.
Everyone around here knew I had the bet. They're like, Chris, they scored. And I'm going crazy, and I'm celebrating, high-five people. And then 3 hours later, they're like, we're going to play these final 3 minutes over again.
Yeah, so let me get to, apparently, I was unsure if they even had VAR for soccer in the Olympics, and I learned that they did by them, as Chris mentioned, bringing both teams back to the pitch, because an hour and 15 minutes after the final whistle blew, the official said, actually, that equalizing goal was offside. That is, I think it stands to reason to say, that is far too long. And at that point, we've all seen bad calls in soccer. You just kind of live with it. But they demanded that the teams return to the pitch, and they added 3 minutes for Argentina to get an equalizer goal that, for Chris's money, had already cashed. And so money goes out of his account. The game ends 2-1. Morocco wins. And I had never, ever seen anything like that before. And I thought that is going to be the soccer scandal for the Olympics. Nope. Here comes the Canadian and men's women's national team, which, as Jess alluded to, Canada's really good on the women's side. And on the men's side, they went a hell of a lot further than the U.S. team did in Copa America. They were semifinalists. They played in that third-place game. So this is a bad look for a team that's all of a sudden gotten really good. And so you start asking yourself, windhorse fingers, why is that? Could it be espionage? So we have that to look forward to. We've got fits to look forward to. We've got teams, several nations that have long since been eliminated, having to walk an opening ceremony. It's grand opening, grand closing for them. I'm super in on the Olympics. The app in particular, this is not a paid endorsement. The app is incredible. If you want to follow along, because many people are excited, this is the first Summer Olympics in quite some time that we can get behind, and it's a normal, it's a manageable time difference. You can follow along on that app and see literally every event, get alerts on them, and you can find out. Peacock's doing a tremendous job with their coverage, so I'm really in on that. There's quite a few shooting events going on today, right before. Some people are getting some shots in before the opening ceremony. So I am super in on this. When do the real Olympic events start? And I say that, and I know it's coded, and people are going to be pissed off about that, but the track and field, the swimming, the gymnastics, the people that become superstars because of this event, that's usually later on, right?
Well, for me, it starts when the U.S. women's national team plays. I know that's not what you meant, but that feels like the official, like the U.S. women's national team has a lot of pressure to do well in this tournament. And so that's been something that I've been looking forward to seeing. in this Olympics, how they're going to play under their new manager, Emma Hayes. And so far, so good. They beat Zambia yesterday 3-0.
That was kind of disappointing, actually.
Well, okay, so let's talk about it. So the first half, I thought they started out missing out a lot of chances, which has kind of been their story over the last several games, maybe spanning even into last year. But they were quality chances, and then they ended up scoring 3 goals like pretty quick succession. Then Zambia had a player get a red card, so they were playing down a man. And in the second half, the U.S. subbed off a few other strikers. Sophia Smith came out with a injury. Hopefully, she's okay.
It looked bad.
I don't know.
You never know with
you never know.
soccer players.
So,
but how did they not score again?
But I
as
thought,
someone that
like,
had them -4.
Oh, now I see where you're coming from. I thought it was fine. Like, I really did think that, like, there's probably some takeaways and some lessons you can learn going into the next game, but, like, that was the result that they wanted. They want to be able to finish those chances, and they did. Like, Mallory Swanson had 2 goals in the span of 70 seconds. I don't know what more you can ask for from her. So
it was odd. They played really well for about 17 minutes and exceptionally well for like a 7-minute stretch, and then they had a player advantage, and they just decided, nah, Mike's good. We'll win this game by 3. And I could have used
I'm
more.
sorry they didn't give you the extra goal.
Thank you for apologizing.
I am sorry about that.
I am super excited, though, about Emma Hayes. I think they knocked that hire out of the park. It is the top-tier hire that I wanted to run that program, and they did that. And I only hope that on the men's side, which has gone quiet a little bit, I hope that the men's side can do something maybe not equally as impressive, because I don't think you can go to the very cream of the crop on the men's side, but do something that will impress.
I'm looking here at the overall schedule and when we can start seeing some medals dished out. Swimming gets going tomorrow. And from tomorrow, the next like 9 days is like all of swimming. We got judo starts tomorrow. We got some fencing starts tomorrow. Diving, cycling, road. So there's some.
I love diving. Diving is crazy. When you see like the POV angle of how high up they are when they're doing it, that one like baffles me. That is one sport where if you put just your average Joe in there, they are going to hurt themselves immediately. They are going to belly flop so hard and injure themselves.
So we'll transition out of Olympics, but you can tell most of us are excited. Most of us like the big Olympic scandals, and we like the fashion and all that.
Breaking, you're going to have to wait till August 9th and 10th for breakdancing.
Oh, that sucks.
For medaling, at least, in those categories.
All right. Well, we have that to look forward to, and Dan will inform us because he has that beat.
We need Roy to pick his sports. I think, Jess, did you lock down yours?
We traded
yesterday?
for beach volleyball,
That's right.
if I recall.
I picked boxing and field hockey.
Boxing is always a great. I don't know how they do it. Like those boxers, just like it takes like professional fighters go. I know that they don't have the headgear, but it takes them like, all right, we'll have a fight, and then I need several months to recover. Boxing is just like, I'll have 7 matches in like 4 days. Let's do it. I'm curious to know your reporting on that front.
Wait, who did you pick, Roy?
Boxing and field hockey.
Oh, okay.
Well,
So tell
I
us
already gave
about
you a heads
the
up.
amputation.
One of the players, yeah.
Apparently, it was an Australian player, and instead of like an uncertain recovery, he was like, "Yeah, just cut it off."
Cut it off.
And they cut it off, I think, under his first knuckle.
Do you have anything to add to that report?
Well, you heard it here first on the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz Olympic
You heard it
coverage.
somewhere else first, and then we said it second. Yeah.
Well, you heard it here second, maybe even third. Who knows?
Well, put in some calls, chase that story. You did say something to me before the show that I want to talk about a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we're seeing all these players. And Jess, did you see the BR's Open Ice account did a Calaposo video? Calaposo, this veteran Islanders legend, Sabres legend, at the end of his career, finally wins a cup with the Florida Panthers as like a 4th liner. Cool story. He revealed that he watched a Batman franchise, kind of like, how Missoula watches a town every day. He watched a Batman movie every day for each round he was in. So for the first round, he watched the 1989 version of Batman. Then for the second round, he watched Batman Begins. Then for the third round, he watched
So this
Dark
was like
Knight.
as a little treat?
No, it was like it was a theme for him, especially with the Dark Knight Rises, and not just because he said, "I'm not wearing hockey pads." That's not the scene that he was talking
Good
about.
limited fake.
But his body had been broken over time, and Dark Knight Rises was like the theme for the very end of it. But the video was recorded around his day with the cup. And this is like a traditional sports radio topic, but right before we went live, Roy was genuinely curious. what would you do with the cup if you had a day with the cup? And I want to go around the horn and find out what everybody would do with the cup, because this is the first time any of us had ever had to consider this. So, Roy, what would you do with the cup?
I would do one of those TikTok videos where you're mixing all the alcohol in it, and then finally you pour the Everclear, and we're gonna have a party.
It's funny because the way that it started, I thought you were just going to do a dance around it.
Me
but
too.
No, I don't dance.
No, you're like
That's
one of
not
the
me.
TikTok bartenders. Like you're making like a concoction.
Yep, exactly.
You don't ever dance?
No, I don't dance. No.
Why?
Not at weddings?
I'm not a dancer. Not
Pretty
a
sure at my wedding, at one point, you were on the outskirts and like with your wife, just like.
Well, I was dragged into that one.
Yeah,
Little
I
sway.
remember
Were you
that.
swaying
I'm
the
married.
hips? Were you swaying your hips?
There was no hip swaying. No.
So you would just drink.
Yes.
You wouldn't take it anywhere. You would just keep it at your house, and you would just.
He would make content with it. Isn't that the answer that you want? I mean,
Well,
this is
I don't think he's
contract
actually making a TikTok. I think he's just doing.
No, I'm doing
like
it for myself.
Yeah. All right, Chris. What would you do with the cup?
I would copy everything Matthew Kachuk did. I would just take it to the Atlantic Ocean. I'd go to Elbow Room. I'd want to take a nap with it.
Yeah.
Just like a good old-fashioned nap.
He took it to schools,
I do hate the no-
fire
I do-
departments, police departments.
I do hate the ocean, but, you know. It would just be
Exceptions
cool.
can be made.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would definitely drink out of it.
This
Probably
sounds like someone else's idea.
an
of a
ice
good
cream
cup
sundae.
day.
An ice cream. I'd get an ice cream sundae in there at some
What
point.
do you want to do with the cup?
An ice cream sundae. That one's my idea.
So
Can
skip the beach.
Barbecue in that thing.
Did you guys see Luongo when he got the cup? Which I
Yeah.
don't understand why he
The
got the
pasta?
cup before a bunch of players, but that's a whole
Well,
other story.
Well,
Front
this
office.
was like after they had won it. Like he's gonna
Yeah.
have an assigned day with it.
he
but
shouldn't.
That dinner seemed like it was like a front office dinner, like
Yeah.
that Italian spot
yeah,
where like
I think
they
that
were
was
all
like the
there.
entire front office.
There
had
was
the
a
cup
thing
with
where
him.
he was eating pasta out of it.
He looked grossed out by it.
Well, but if you find the picture and put up the picture, it was fake. Like there was a bowl inside of it. He was eating
There's
out of
always
a
a bowl.
bowl. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I don't like that.
Oh
Eat
yeah,
out
that
of
was
the cup.
that was bullshit because
Yeah.
you should have to scrub that
Exactly
marinara
right.
sauce stain outside of the inside
Exactly
of the cup
right.
like the rest of us do with our
So when
Tupperware.
Roy is making a drink, he's making a drink inside of a bowl inside of the cup. Like what is that? Who cares?
They often have like plastic wrapping
cares?
too.
It's just like a fancy candelabra. Like who gives a shit?
Jesus Christ,
Chris
so
Cody-
dismissive. What the hell, man?
for that-
Dirty the cup. Put it in the cup.
I was
put
gonna
the ice
ask you.
cream and the banana split
In the
and
cup.
the
Exactly right.
Fudge. What else? Peanuts.
If
What
he'll
else
let
goes
me,
on
I'll
a
do
sundae?
that.
Wait, Billy,
Whipped
you
cream?
wouldn't actually want that. There have been babies baptized.
I
in
want
that.
that. Well, were they actually, or were they baptized in something inside the cup? Like
Probably
that's
with
the
plastic
thing.
wrap in it.
Now this is like a whole. This isn't real. We're not actually doing things with the cup. The cup is just like wrapping for what we're doing. Who
While
cares?
we're on the subject, do we even think that was the real cup?
That's a good question too. Because there's multiple cups.
That one was the real one in that it had a bunch of dents.
We have this video here. We're looking here. If you watch him when he finally eats it, he eats like one piece of pasta. He's
yeah,
like
but there's
gross.
a bowl in
Well, it's
there.
awkward.
I'm telling you though, he's
Look,
gross.
see, you see the bowl, the hidden
Yeah,
bowl.
he's
There's
definitely
two.
Watch this
grossed
little
out.
bite that he takes here. He
Yeah.
he bites like one noodle off the fork.
Well, he
doesn't
also can't. He also has to say no matter what.
Look,
Yeah.
he barely bites it.
He did the thing where he like put the fork in his mouth, but then he spit out the rest.
Well,
of
it was hot.
He
Yeah.
ate this like he was an actor who had to do like 12 takes.
Yeah.
Have you ever
Roy
seen in a
called
movie
it.
they take like
You're
really
absolutely
small
right.
bites?
Roy
It's like,
called
steam
it.
coming out of that.
Dude, there is so much steam coming out of that pasta, and he just realized like, shit. Well, I'm not gonna make this person holding
do
the
a
cell
little-
phone wait.
blow on it a little.
Also, don't want to be.
That's not cool
slurping
for
up spaghetti
content.
noodles.
a little.
The hesitation that you see is like, I'm gonna burn my entire
There's
mouth. with
nothing
this bite.
He's
uncool
a
about
hockey
the.
player.
Exactly right. He's been through worse.
He wears a mask.
Tony,
Coward.
what would you do with the cup?
Obviously, you guys know the grand importance of the cup for me, specifically.
Hey, I've seen a bunch of other people with their Tony Collabo shirts, and I was told, like, since I like to wear double XLs, that
I got
that's
you.
an issue. I saw Big Show wearing one.
Yeah, he's got one.
Yeah, where's my double XL?
I got you.
You have
You
to
keep
pay,
saying that,
you have
but
to
I-
pay him. He doesn't give them for free. You
No,
have to pay him
I'm not.
$45.
I gave him the plug. I'm not paying for this shirt. He says.
Well, no, you're
he
paying
keeps
for
saying
it.
that I got you.
I got you.
You don't have me.
I'll drop you one off at the house today. How about that?
Did you see they sent Barstool a cease and desist on their shirts? You got to be careful, buddy. I told
think
you.
I'll be all right.
I said don't play with fire, and you said they aren't going to do anything to me. Just watch out.
I'll be all right. I'll drop you one off at the house today. How about that?
Okay,
He's
cool.
getting
Deal?
one for free. You said you're making everyone else.
I'm
pay
the
for that.
plug.
It's
Yeah,
different.
but they make pennies compared to you, and they have to pay $45 for a shirt.
I'm the
Buy a
plug.
shirt.
I'm the plug.
What
Billy,
I would
what
do-
are you doing?
I'm just
Like,
trying to
what are
figure
you-
out
what are
why
you
they
doing?
have to pay.
What are you trying to do? I put my Memphis Tiger football program first. In life, I basically cleared out my calendar for a month because of this game. I'd been finessing it and preparing my family for it, and last night I had an incredible night. It was almost better than release night, if you can imagine. It was our first off-season in CFB 25. Approximately 9 coaches got together, and we hammered out our off-season
Same
recruiting,
place?
signing day. No, all on a party,
Oh, gotcha.
like remotely. Some people had PSPs for remote play. Like, it's hard with these dynasties. It's hard to get 9 people on the same schedule. You're probably running into that with your.
We have 25 people in the league that we do with Charles McDonald, our buddy.
Yeah.
And we just got to week 0. We're recruiting the hell out of the ball. LSU's coming out of the gates hot, by the way.
But you're still in week 0.
We're still in week 0, though, yeah.
Right. No, I'm in
Haven't
year
played
2.
a game yet.
I'm in year 2. But part of the sacrifice that I'm making in doing this is I'm missing out on summer concert season. There were plenty of concerts down here that I saw videos of that. It wasn't a money thing. It was like I got to be there for my Memphis Tiger program and my fellow coaches. But Zach Bryan was in town. Those shows always look super fun. Missy Elliott, Busta Rhymes, Timbaland were at a show together. And out of curiosity, I always check the Game Time app to see what the prices would be because of that lowest price guarantee. And man, I almost abandoned my Memphis Tigers football program because the prices were so damn good. And while I was confident that Game Time had the lowest price in the secondary ticket marketplace, even if there was a lower price out there, I have the low price guarantee with Game Time, where if there is a price out there that is lower, Game Time will match it 110%. Do yourself a favor, create an account, use the code DAN, that is DAN, on your first purchase. You can get $20 off your first ticket purchase. Terms apply. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Now that our good friend's business is out of the way, I want to go to another set of business with Jeremy Taché.
Can I jump in real fast? Did you see who was at the Zach Bryan concert?
I saw Ekblad was there. I saw Matthew Tkachuk was there, and I saw Carter Verhaeghe was there. The photo that I saw, no one cared to tell Carter Verhaeghe that his fly was down.
You know who else was there?
Who else was there?
Boom!
Mystery Crate.
All right.
Mystery Crate. Well, Tua was there too because he was there with
They
the
saw
boom.
him.
You like those guys.
We love them. Can't
Okay.
stop watching them. The greatest of all time, probably, on the internet.
I,
chocolate chunk, chocolate
Chicken bake!
do you
We bring the boom.
do you think it's already fallen apart for Hawk Tua Girl?
She's like, come on.
Kind of seems like there's a whole like sad economy to this, and Hawk Tua Girl, like she waited 2 weeks to get the right representation, and she had like a formal rollout. She did that Barstool interview. She appeared at a Zach Bryan show, but it was almost as if like, yeah, the 2 weeks that you were trying to really maximize your monetization for this, like that's actually when you should have struck. And then people are hearing interviews with her, and they're realizing, oh, she just said that really funny thing that one time. Like, why are we asking her about politics? She just
Just a normal person.
it's not. She seems lovely, by the way, but it's not the fact that it's not going the way that maybe she thought it was. Has nothing to do with her. It has everything to do with us. Like, we made her convinced that there was an economy around this, and I understand why. She got agents.
10
and
years ago, she would have been on Ellen. I'm just saying.
Ellen could have helped launch Patter. Like that.
Viral fame has the window has gotten even smaller, I think.
That was the
There's
chain.
more people, but the window's smaller.
That was a chain of events in that you go viral and then you go to Ellen, and then there's no step 2. There's no step 2 for Hawk Tua Girl. So do you think that the Boom guys have a more sustainable fame than Hawk Tua? Because they at least put out new videos. Like, what is Hawk Tua Girl going to do for her second act?
Yeah, they go around and taste restaurants, but they're always a boom.
Oh, no. Sometimes
I
they
just
give
want
it
to see.
doom.
You got to work in some dooms, or else I know where you're going here.
Well, remember, Big Justice has called out Baby Gronk in athletic feats. He's also with the Rizzler. There's a lot of stuff with Big Justice.
All right, so I need meme culture.
And he has his baseball career too.
I need meme culture constantly explained to me because I'm aging out of this stuff, and also I got blinders on. My main focus is bringing the Memphis Tigers to prominence. So I bring in my resident young person, Jeremy Taché, who tried this out a couple of days ago, and he put up like a TikTok video, and I was left kind of in bewilderment, wondering what was so entertaining about it. But apparently I had seen it again after that, and I saw the numbers on it. The Kamala Harris remixing is doing buku things, buku numbers. And I was just like, I don't get it, but maybe I'm at that age. But here's resident young person Jeremy Taché to walk me through meme culture yet again. Jeremy, what are we tackling today?
Well, today we're going to keep it going in the launch pad from the videos I introduced earlier in the week about Kamala Harris and Brett Summers.
Where does Big Justice play into this?
Big Justice, unfortunately, doesn't play in yet, but I imagine a boom in the polls is what everyone will be looking for.
I like your
Kamala
shirt, by the way. I like your
you.
general outfit. The tank top underneath the bowling shirt, that shit works.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Yeah. Well, Kamala Harris, the big question was, is Kamala Harris brat? And Charlie XCX confirmed it herself. Kamala Harris is brat, is what was tweeted. But
he's on a whiteboard for the audio audience.
There's a whiteboard. I'm
hold on.
connecting all these.
He
these
just
things
circled
together.
Kamala Harris's name.
You're
did.
telling me it's not brat?
It's brat.
I thought we were talking about brats this whole time.
Brat Summer. Brat Summer. That's the key here.
The
Charlie
boom guy
XCX.
should do brat
You
summer.
gotta say with an accent. Brats.
Brat. Brat Summer for Charlie XCX is the theme. And what was happening originally is Gen Z was creating these memes all on their own. My general concern is Kamala Harris and her campaign and all of the Democrats have kind of embraced this a little too much and started to create this content themselves. You gotta leave it to the kids or else it will become corny. So
should they call themselves Demobrats for the election cycle?
this is what I'm worried about. Please do not call yourselves Demobrats. That is going to be a problem. Let the kids do it themselves. But you have Kamala Harris's brat. You have Charlie XCX. Now, the question with Charlie XCX today is, will she be doing a remix with Chappell Roan? That's sort of the rumor mill going on right now on social media. There's also meme culture going on around Kamala's campaign and the song Femininomenon by Chappell Roan, calling it a Kamala-nomenon. And when you move over to the Republican side of things,
that was very well done to not trip up on that.
you have J.D. Vance. And the rumor around J.D. Vance is that he fucked a couch.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw all these funny videos of him like lusting after a couch. I'm like, why does everybody think that JD Vance wants to?
All right,
sleep
now
with
I'm
his
listening.
couch?
So there was a tweet, I believe on July 17th, that insinuated that in J.D. Vance's book, Hillbilly Elegy, there is a passage about his coming-of-age story in which he admits to having sex with a latex glove inside between couch cushions when he was a younger
That changes
person.
everything.
That's the tweet. And that tweet went so viral that all over TikTok, there were people creating videos, romantic songs with images of J.D. Vance and then a leather couch and then J.D. Vance and then a couch cushion. And that was sort of the general vibe. So it became so popular that the AP yesterday put out a story. No, J.D. Vance did not have sex with a couch. But that story was retracted. And they said they can neither confirm nor deny whether or not
Yeah, like, how would they
J.D.
know?
Vance had sex with a couch because they figured out that the original tweet wasn't true. So my question is, if this keeps going, will J.D. Vance have to say, no, I did not have sexual relations? Will he say, it was just a one-night stand? Or will he just say, I'm sofa king tired of this? But he also has been going viral for saying that any woman that has not had a child in this country should not really be participating in politics. He's had some really rough and just honestly scary rhetoric, but he referred to them as childless cat ladies. Now, I can think of a very important person in pop culture who is childless and also a cat lady. That would be Taylor Swift. Now, we obviously know that Taylor Swift's public endorsement of Kamala Harris is going to be really important to get voters on the side of the Democrats to potentially even swing an election if she can motivate her voters. But the thing that no one's talking about that might cause some concern, the link between Charlie XCX and Taylor Swift. Now, what is it? Charlie XCX engaged to George Daniel, the drummer of the 1975. Who's the lead singer of the 1975? Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, Maddie Healy, Taylor Swift's controversial ex-boyfriend. So, will the bad blood between Taylor Swift and Maddie Healy potentially also cause bad blood between Charlie XCX and Taylor Swift, and in turn maybe leave the sour taste in the mouth of Taylor Swift regarding Kamala Harris embracing Charlie XCX? These are the questions we'll have to answer over the next few months in pop culture and meme culture.
Okay, wait. So you're telling me we need to get Charlie XCX to break up with her boyfriend to get Taylor Swift to endorse Kamala Harris to get the Swifties to register to vote and vote for Kamala Harris, because then they'll have something in common.
Or Charlie XCX and Taylor Swift will need to work it out on the remix. That's really the only other option.
I understood very little of that.
You weren't supposed to.
The only note is you got to end on the high note of sofa puns.
Yeah.
It was
I probably
really
could've.
well done.
Thanks. I really appreciate
You lost Tony with the whole bratwurst thing.
it. Yeah, I mean,
So it's not brats?
it's brats. Brat,
I'm out.
Brat Summer.
I'm out. Yeah, I'm out.
All right.
I'm out.
It wasn't for you.
I know.
I enjoyed it.
Jeremy,
Thanks.
not only
I'll come
are
back
you our meme culture correspondent, but you're also my personal baseball correspondent. So stay right there or come right in here. But I got more questions for you as we've got my Mariners made a big trade.
Flip the whiteboard, Jeremy.
Yeah, flip the whiteboard or something because my Mariners made
careful,
a
'cause I
big
don't know
trade
what's
that
on
I'm
the other
excited
side of
about.
that.
So the Mariners are like, it's a weird combination of maybe arguably greatest pitching staff of the modern era, but also just terrible bats. And they needed to do something. And they brought in a player yesterday whose name not only did I know, but I've known for a couple of years. And my Mariners group chat was on fire. There were 4 texts that I woke up to this morning in that bad boy. Lower volume than some of the other ones. Jeremy, what can you tell us about the big trade yesterday and what big trades might be around the corner as we are approaching the MLB trade deadline?
Yeah, there's a few big moves that have already been made. You just mentioned Randy Arozarena from the Tampa Bay Rays to the Seattle Mariners, desperate for a bat. And if you look at Arozarena's numbers this year, they don't look all that impressive. He's only hitting .213 as a batting average. His OPS is not that high. But since June 1st, his OPS is over 900, and I think he has 7 homers and 9 stolen bases in that span. He's also, I believe, got the 3rd highest playoff OPS of any hitter ever behind Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig in the history of Major League
That's pretty
Baseball.
good.
So he's a major postseason performer. The Mariners are desperate for bats. It seems like a really good move for them. They gave up a pitcher that they really liked in their farm system, but you mentioned their pitching is young and their pitching is deep.
Yeah,
So
they were linked to Jazz Chisholm a little bit.
They were.
This would kind of maybe take them out of that? Or
well, the Jazz Chisholm stuff is really interesting because the national media reports around Jazz have kind of been using what feels like some coded language.
in baseball?
Yeah, shocker, right? But Jazz, the Yankees apparently are not interested in Jazz because he has a strong personality. And there was another report that says he's too focused on his brand. And then there was another report, I believe it was from Jeff Passan, that said not just the fears about his ability to stay healthy, but his brashness have turned off some teams. And it's really confusing because
I understand the coded language, but I think like the brashness stuff around Jazz, like I think he would admit that he's brash and he doesn't really care about
But that's
that.
also not a problem in a major league clubhouse. The Marlins.
Well, it's been it's reportedly been a problem before.
Well,
in
it was
his
a problem with
clubhouses.
like 3 players on a team that was bad, and most of that team took his side when that breakup happened.
Yeah.
between
Billy,
him
are you
and
ready
Miguel
to break
Rojas.
up with Jazz?
I mean, I'd also say this team is worse than that team.
Yeah.
Right.
As it stands right now.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
Which is
made
why
the,
they should make
the
the
Marlins
move.
made a trade yesterday. Didn't
Yeah,
they?
that trade was AJ Puck for, I believe his name is Davison De Los Santos and Andrew Pintar. And De Los Santos leads the minor leagues in home runs with 28. He has an OPS over 1,000. He's 21 years old, and he's done that between AA and AAA. He's instantly the Marlins' best hitting prospect. So feels like a really good move for AJ Puck, and they still have Tanner Scott and other relievers that they can move as well.
Well, real quick, briefly, where are you on this? It's very clearly a rebuild. There's nothing that you can do to stop it. Like,
No.
what are you just hoping for here, Billy?
I'm kind of disappointed the way the whole Jazz thing has played out because I assume that what the Marlins will get in exchange for Jazz is not going to be anything comparable to Zach Gallen, which is the way, unfortunately, you have to kind of judge this. Is you traded a guy that ends up being an all-star pitcher for Jazz who at the moment hasn't lived up to expectations that we had for him, or maybe he even has for himself. I mean,
He definitely didn't shy away from those.
his expectations for himself, I think, are higher than the fans' expectations are for him, right? And he hasn't lived up to that. And it seems as though the market for him is not going to be as plentiful or bountiful as you were hoping that it might be. So you're kind of taking a loss on this one, which seems to be a theme in a lot of these
Capitulation
trades.
station for the Miami Marlins.
That's the part that's like interesting about how the national media has been reporting this, right? Because you have all these different leaks that suggest all these different things about personality, and you wonder if the market would be bigger if those things weren't there, or if they're sort of trying to suppress value. Because look,
He's
Jazz,
been good as of late, by
He's
the
been
way.
really good
Not
as of
that
late.
That necessarily is going to change things, but you may find a desperate team that now overpays because like, oh, he's getting hot at the right time. But
the Mariners would have been that desperate team. Instead, they picked Rosarena.
I mean,
that also might be about the package.
There's still a couple days, right? Someone may get desperate, and then you may get a better deal than you're anticipating. But also, like, this is a big time if you're a Marlins fan and kind of seeing what Bendix can do, right?
Yeah.
Because the Arias trade, they told us was the best option out there at the time, and that didn't seem to be a great haul. One of the players isn't even with the organization anymore, so we'll see what they do at this deadline.
Wait, Jeremy. Lay out for Chris to finally fire off this sound, because
Please.
Chris and timing with sound has been a bit of an adventure since he started sitting in that chair. Who did the Mariners acquire?
There's a guy who hits his name Randy Rosarena. Every time he takes a swing, it is a thing. It's Cosa Buena. Running round the bases, he's as fast as a hyena. Ah, Rosarena.
I promise you in the next segment, we will not ask David Sampson about Jazz Chisholm. It's like on my list of don't do's. Friendly reminder to our audience, you can catch our stuff in several places here on YouTube, on DraftKings Network. We are going to close out our hour that is available on Max, the streaming service, with David Sampson, who is pointing to his ear right now, who apparently can't hear me, and Adnan Verk. So I'll probably begin with Adnan briefly. We were just talking about the trade deadline. You recently won an Emmy for all your fine work over at MLB Network, Adnan. Congratulations on that.
Thank you, Mike.
There was a big trade yesterday that we just got the skinny on. Are there any other big names? We talked about Rosarena. Are there any other big names that even I might know that might be moving destinations here as we lean on your MLB Network Emmy Award-winning expertise?
Thank you for mentioning the Emmy. I appreciate that. Takes a village. July 30th trade deadline. I'll be on air from 1 to 4 Eastern. And I think the big names that you would know, Mike, listen, the White Sox are on the verge of breaking the record for the most losses in a single season. They're on pace for 120, which would tie as far as futility is concerned in a single year. So they're going to deal. Garrett Crochet has 150 strikeouts. He's a legit ace. He's going to go somewhere. Luis Robert is obviously a very good slugger. He's hurt too much. He strikes out too much, but he's going to go. And closer to home, Jazz Chisholm, I think, is going to get moved. And a quick thought on Randy Arozarena. That Seattle offense is absolutely putrid. Julio Rodriguez is out right now, but he's been banged up and disappointing much of the season. Their entire offense is league average. Arozarena, by the way, has not had a great season. Recently, he's been better, but any sort of addition, it will help that Mariners team, and their pitching is electric. So good move for Seattle to do something to help that moribund offense.
Adnan, you mentioned Garrett Crochet, and David, I'm interested in your take on this story because there was a report yesterday that Crochet will not pitch into the postseason for whoever trades for him if he doesn't get to sign an extension with that team. The report also said that he won't move to the bullpen if the team wants him to move to the bullpen. As someone operating in a front office, like, how do you look at that when you're making that move, and what are your thoughts on that report?
I did not mince words on nothing personal. I went on my board, crossed him off. There is zero.
Wow, that was expert level. You found a way to work in your throat clearing into a sight gag. That was good work right there, David.
Yeah, it's outrageous. I have no idea who this guy thinks he is. Opening day pitcher for the worst team in baseball. Yeah, he's got a bunch of Ks, but his agent and he have decided they have the right plan. And the plan is, and this guy he's pitched 12 innings last year. His plan is, you better pay me and guarantee my money, or I will not pitch for you in October, so you better not trade for me. Guess what? Stay with the White Sox. Good luck. Have fun. There should be 0 teams. As many teams should want to trade for this guy as the number of teams who want to sign Trevor Bauer. 0. A donut.
And to David's point, how refreshing was this yesterday? Dylan Cease throws a no-hitter after 94 pitches in 7 innings. Mike Schultz says to him, nice job. And Cease says to him, David, hey, can I stay in there? And he's like, all right, let's see what we can do. He threw 114 pitches and threw a no-hitter. Years ago, he'd go 94 pitches, 7 innings. Of course he's staying in the game. Now you have to lobby for it.
Wait, there was a no-hitter yesterday?
Yeah, Dylan Cease threw a no-hitter. We had it live on MLB Network in the final 3 outs. It was amazing.
The second no-hitter in Padres history, and they had none for 40 years.
Correct.
And they've had 2. Joe Musgrove in 21,
correct,
and now Cease yesterday.
0 for 52 years. But, David, they actually let a guy throw 114 pitches. Oh, my God. What a remarkable event.
There was a no-hitter yesterday?
It's like baseball sent a cease and desist for people talking about this.
Boo.
Yeah. I did use that line with him, Jessica, when I interviewed him after the game. He gave a little smile.
David, I do want to say on the White Sox
Great
before we
minds.
pivot to movies real quick. The White Sox, not a great stadium situation, and I've seen them kind of do the thing whenever you're trying to get a new stadium, which is leak out the possibility of, hey, this franchise might move. Does this one have a bit more weight in that Chicago randomly has 2 baseball teams? Now, they've shown historically that they can support them, but that thought is dwindling, especially since the Cubs really took over that town with their World Series win. Is there actually juice to the possibility of the Chicago White Sox no longer being the Chicago White Sox?
Yeah, the juice comes from death. So here's the Jerry Reinsdorf plan. He said that when I croak, my son's going to keep the Bulls, but we're selling the White Sox, meaning the estate. And if there's no new stadium, the buyer may buy the team to move it. So if you want to make sure the White Sox stay, give me $2 billion before I die. That's been his approach. So far, it hasn't quite worked, but we'll see.
How does Major League Baseball feel about the possibility of the second franchise in the second city possibly moving? Do you think that they would push back on that?
There is 0 chance of the White Sox moving. Jerry Reinsdorf met with the Nashville mayor. It was just for fun. It got a lot of attention. There's so many Chicago teams. The Bears, the White Sox are looking for public money. The Bulls and the Blackhawks are doing a huge deal that they announced was a $7 billion private redevelopment around the United Center. But of course, they need public money as well. So there will be decisions that are going to be made, but the White Sox will get their stadium because what is it now? Guaranteed rate field? No, I don't even know what it's called. Is that it now, Adnan?
I think it's guaranteed rate field. Yeah,
It is.
It's terrible. We hated playing there. We had to go there. As
You had
the
to go there for a
Marlins.
hurricane, and it totally
Yes.
nuked your wild card chances.
It was unreal. We had to stay like an hour away. There were no hotels, and it wasn't a real team hotel. They didn't have the right room service, so the union and us, we had to make a deal where we had food brought into this horrible hotel to act like room service. And then we lost the games, and we didn't make the playoffs. It sucked.
I'm curious to know. I don't know if you covered this on Nothing Personal, but a French football team of repute had to shutter Bordeaux. This was a team that when I first got into soccer, they were flirting with Europe. They had produced pretty good players, and in the French league, they had to shutter their doors. A big club in France is now no more, and it's because of the promotion relegation system over there. If you can't count on European dollars coming in, it's going to be a lot harder to keep up all the expenses of that franchise. What do you make of a French football team that is pretty known and famous having to close? And will we ever see that day here in the United States?
I will never forget the show that you and I and Whittingham did about, I don't remember when that was. It may have been a COVID show. We talked about the possibility of relegation and promotion in U.S. sports, and we all agreed unanimously you can't do it because the cost of these franchises assumes certain guaranteed revenue streams, and you can't have those revenue streams just disappear because you stink for a couple of years or 1 year with relegation. And so it would not sustain itself. You wouldn't get the votes for it in any of the leagues. I'm shocked that that happened. But to me, that could be the beginning of the end of relegation over there because these asset valuations keep going up. I think relegation has to disappear.
That's kind of a bummer because many people like the consequences that come with that. But unfortunately for fans of that club, one of the consequences is your club is no more. That club is in France. So are the Olympics. And we have, I guess, an Olympic tie to our top fives. Per the tradition, we will begin with David Sampson and leave Adnan Virk about 40 seconds. Did I get that one right?
Nailed it, Mike.
Alpha Brain. It's working, baby. It's working, baby.
Through. Way to go, Mike.
All right.
Top 5 movies to celebrate opening ceremonies, which start in just a few hours today, July 26th. Top 5 Olympic movies of all time. Number 5.
It's Olympic
Miracle.
movies. So it's Olympic movies and not movies about France because I was going to get really upset to forget Paris wasn't in this.
No, Billy Crystal. Nice.
It's a great movie,
It's
but
a
no,
great
it is not
movie.
movies about France because I would then do Something's Gotta Give. But no, it's not that.
All right, so Miracle is the first one. Sorry to cut you off there.
Number
Keep it
4, Prefontaine.
What's
No,
that?
that is worthy. That's Prefontaine. That's Jared Leto. That's a guy. That's sad. There's 2 movies about it. Watch the one that's called Prefontaine with Jared Leto. Ed O'Neill,
Leto.
you're going to be happy.
Jared Leto, but okay.
Leto, excuse me. Thank you, Ed.
What does it have to do
Number
with the
3.
Olympics?
What is it? Wait. I don't know about this movie. What does it have to do with the Olympics?
He's a runner.
He's a runner in the Munich Olympics.
Okay, cool.
Well said.
There was
You've never heard of Prefontaine?
No.
He's a cross-country runner, right, Steve?
Billy
Prefontaine.
Wow.
Billy's in on it, yeah. Tell me.
Number 3 is a current movie, The Boys in the Boat.
Oh,
It's a fantastic book. It's a fantastic movie. George Clooney directed it. It is about crew. It's about rowing. It's about Hitler, Berlin. You may want to watch it.
no, the first part, David, you were right. It's a fantastic book. It's not a fantastic movie. It was absolutely pedestrian and workmanlike and further proves that Clooney, as great a star as he is a very average director. And there was a great critic who pointed out there's never been a movie that's featured more clapping in a movie ever. The extras must have been exhausted by the end of it. A lot of clapping for a very average movie, mediocre film. I'm shocked you put it at number 3. It's a great story. It's not a great movie.
Good night and good luck.
That's a great movie.
Number 2, Icarus. If you're looking for a documentary about the Olympics and you want to learn about doping and find out how much cheating the Russians did, it will blow your mind. Icarus. Watch it if you haven't.
One of the greatest
Great doc on
documentaries. Yeah,
Netflix.
one of the greatest documentaries maybe ever. All right,
Yeah.
David, keep it going.
And the number 1 movie is called Munich. You can imagine what that's about. Some bad things may have happened. There's a whole bunch of movies about this. The best one is, for me, Munich. And but if you're looking for one of these 5, I should have done it opposite, actually. Watch Icarus if that's the only time you have.
All right, that's David Sampson. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out to do your top 5 list. We really
Wait, Mike, I got to fly through my 5 right now. Come on, we got 40 seconds here. Number 5, Chariots of Fire. Great
Better
score
song than movie.
Good, fair point. Vangelis, great score. Probably shouldn't have won Best Picture against Reds or Raiders of the Lost Ark, but 1924 Olympics, passion story, etc. Number 4, Foxcatcher. I mean,
Great
Jean
movie.
Dupont, right? Steve Carell, Mike, disturbing movie.
Dude, Steve Carell with one of like the all-time disturbing performances and truly a heartbreaking, actual true story. Tragic.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Channing Tatum, Mark Ruffalo, Oscar nominee was great. Number 3, underrated film, Downhill Racer. Robert Redford did all of his own skiing. Of course, you know how much he loves Utah, but he did all his own skiing, plays an aloof Olympic skier. It's the best movie about skiing you'll ever see. Michael Ritchie directed it. Great POV shots. You should look it up.
It's not even as good as Eddie the Eagle, Downhill Racer.
I'm surprised that didn't make the top 5 for you. Number 2, Cody's going to love it. Cool Runnings.
Let's go.
Yeah, I was hoping.
Jamaican bobsled team, the late, great John Candy playing the coach. Unbelievable movie, underrated. And number 1, I, Tonya. Are you kidding? Margot Robbie was sensational. Allison Janney won an Academy Award. Funny movie, dark, disturbing. I, Tonya was fantastic.
No D2. What are you guys doing?
Chris.
Hit King.
That's
Chris.
not
Billy
actually an
Hustle.
Olympic movie.
Pimlico.
Yeah, it's not an Olympic movie. It's a Junior Goodwill Games.
Right.
That's the Olympics.
Billy
Famously.
Hustle.
That's not the Olympics.
That's not the Olympics.
It's not the
They
Olympics.
play Iceland.
That is not
Let's
a
go
real
shake
song.
their. Let's go shake their hands.
Thank you, David. Catch us up with Nothing Personal. And thank you, Adnan, Emmy Award winner.
Awesome.
Tony, I'm seeing the promos for it in our YouTube live breaks. You got an MMA hangout at a place that I haven't had the pleasure of going to, but I've heard really great things. What can you tell me about it?
UFC 304 MMA hangout is going to Casa Tiki on Calle Ocho. Friends of the show, they love the show. We're going to go over there and hang out. I have also not been there. I've seen pictures. I know people that have been
I
there.
like a good tiki bar, man.
Me too.
Whatever
happened to the tiki bar?
Well, Casa Tiki has brought it back.
saying.
It's a great aesthetic. There's a really good one in Broward, too. I'd been to that one. I've been to, because they had,
Did the tiki bar leave us? It was just
In
not as
Miami,
many as
we've
there
never
used
really
to
had
be?
a good tiki
We
bar.
never really in Broward. There was one, and I go there for the occasional live local rock band. But
Just
I'm
said
happy.
Monty's, but Monty's isn't a
No,
tiki bar.
that's not a tiki bar.
That's just a
tiki bar leans in.
right.
Like
we need tiki things.
Yeah, preferably if you have tiki in the name, that's great.
Casa Tiki.
Yeah,
This Saturday, UFC 304, 10 p.m. start. I feel bad because in Great Britain, where they're actually having the card, they're doing it to accommodate us here in the United States. So it's a 10 p.m. start here, 3 a.m. start main card
What?
in London. Yeah.
they typically don't do that for London, for like marquee European cities. Whenever they
Yeah.
do these cards, like sometimes they'll do that in like Dubai.
Why can't they just start it at 7 p.m. here?
I don't know.
No, that's stupid.
I don't know.
Why?
That's stupid because
Why does
combat
it have
sports
to be so late?
combat sports are notoriously late.
It's a
But
late
why?
night. It's a late
Well,
night
because I think historically, because the mecca of combat sports is Las Vegas. So
But this one's not in Las Vegas.
I know, but
Why?
I think like prime time Vegas time is when they do all combat sports. I don't know the logic. I'm theorizing, but I think that's what it is. It's
Remember,
like
there's
Las
prelims
Vegas is the
too.
center of the combat sports universe.
There's prelims too, and then there's early prelims. So if you want to have the main card start at 7 o'clock,
Yeah.
then you have to have.
Is Edwards on this card?
Yeah, it's Leon
Wow.
Edwards versus Bilal Muhammad, obviously hometown boy.
We should make
And
it a
then-
morning sport. Everything starts at like 6 a.m. Main card by noon.
There have been the occasional like morning cards.
Those
and
are done over like Fight Island, like
Dude,
Abu Dhabi.
Such a bad vibe. Combat sports need to be like you go to a blast area, you go to Casa Tiki, you get one or two drinks in you, and then you're
It's a
like,
late night
I don't
vibe.
know anything about this. Punch each other in the face.
Exactly right.
That's what's great about it. Now, Edwards is a curious case because he was a bit of a journeyman. He didn't have this superlative win-loss record, and then he kind of figured something out. And he had a huge upset, and I thought, okay, we've seen this story before. A guy like the Rocky underdog story becomes champ, and then they immediately
Nickname
lose.
is Rocky.
And they immediately lose. And that's not the case. Edwards has gotten himself. He's only gotten better since the Usman fight. He's now in the conversation for pound.
Like, the funny thing about Edwards is, like you said, Mike, he was a journeyman. The UFC didn't really want to give him the time of day to give him those championship fights. They thought he was kind of boring. They thought he really didn't have a story around him. It's kind of like the pro wrestling aspect of, like, you have to have
In
some
danger
sort
of getting
buzz.
cut.
Yes, right. You have to have, it's the Colby Covington theory, right? Nobody would care about Colby if he didn't lean so hard into the MAGA thing. He would just be a pedestrian
Boring,
wrestler guy.
His fight style is particularly boring.
Exactly. You'd be a pedestrian wrestler and be like, okay, this guy will be out of the UFC in 3 years. But the moment that, again, revisionist history, but when we look back, Leon Edwards was losing that fight to Kamaru Usman every round.
Yeah.
Like, it was over for
Brother,
Leon.
I know. I was on Usman.
I know. And then that left kick,
It's a bloodbath
headshot,
for me, man.
bang, it was over. And Leon, from that moment, has been an incredible fighter. Again, he's only defended the title twice, but looking back, that's when the line of demarcation for Leon Edwards was right there at that moment in Salt Lake City when that left kick came out, ended Usman. Now he's almost celebrated by the UFC.
Yeah.
Which,
no, he's a complete fighter. He's great to watch now all of a sudden. And improbably, you never really see guys like that make their way into pound-for-pound discussion. And he's there.
And the funny thing is, he's fighting a guy in Bilal Muhammad who is a good fighter in his own right, but again is having the same treatment that Leon Rocky Edwards got because nobody wants to see Bilal Muhammad win the welterweight title.
Actually, you know what? I have a chance to make this card because I was like, I have a thing. And the thing is Leagues Cup, but by the time that thing ends, I can make the drive down and be there in time for the Edwards fight.
We'd love
so
to have you.
I'm going to try my best to make it to Casa Tiki for this MMA hangout. What else is on the card?
Tommy Aspinall, heavyweight champ of the world right now, interim basis. Obviously, we know John Jones is the heavyweight title holder, but he's the interim heavyweight title holder fighting against Curtis Blades, a good knockout artist. I think Tommy Aspinall is going to wipe the floor with him. And we have Patty the Batty versus Bobby King Green, who now goes by King Green.
In great shape, Patty.
Nobody fluctuates in weight quite like Patty Pimblett. You see him just on a regular day.
Dan.
He's
I do
looking like
I'm up there too, pal.
no, but not. I don't see
Especially
you with the
when I'm off the
6-pack
Lexapro.
after. I don't see you off the 6-pack.
Oh, you should have seen my my COVID body.
6-pack.
Well, no, like 2019 was a good year.
I remember. You look
Yeah,
good.
anxiety, bad for your health, good for the
your
abs.
So it's a good card up and down. It's going to be fun. I don't know what the atmosphere is going to feel like when the card starts at 3 o'clock in the morning in Great Britain, but the vibes are going to be good. Gasatiki is going to be going up, and we'd love to see you there.
All right, well, I'm going to do my best. I got a loaded Saturday. I got a nephew's birthday. I got a Deadpool screening. I got Leagues Cup, which I'm super excited about. I'm not going to try to get buy-in anywhere here. Yeah, Billy, you'd be happy to know that Messi was announced on the team sheet, which opens up the possibility for him to return during this competition. I guess it would have to be a pretty deep run. They opened things up against Puebla, a team that was a little feisty in last year's Leagues Cup competition. For me, as someone that follows MLS and Liga MX, to have one World Cup-style tournament that basically has both leagues facing off. Sometimes you have MLS versus MLS, and sometimes you have Liga MX versus Liga MX. But last year was a bit unfair with some of the host cities. I think they've kind of fixed that a little bit, and I'm excited to watch this. Are you excited about the specter of Messi possibly returning?
We'll see.
For the
Yeah,
Leagues
hopefully.
Cup?
I mean, I'm glad he's finally taking things seriously. Potential for return here. We'll see what happens.
I got to defend their league. Inter Miami is the only Leagues Cup champion there's ever been.
How can he be like close to coming back when the last time we saw him, his ankle was the width of his head?
Yeah, he was. He's in walking boot, I think, still, but it's a high ankle sprain. In the NFL, that's usually what, 6 weeks. This is like a month-long competition. The timeline works out that he might be available, provided that they make it to a final. Now, he has to be on the provided roster for him to make an appearance there, and you have to cap that, and you have to make some decisions. So they thought just the chance of him possibly making the appearance was more important than just putting another player's name out there. I'm excited for this competition. I'll be going to that. I'm also watching Deadpool versus Wolverine. Well, it's Deadpool and Wolverine versus that title got shelved. I know Mike Fuentes saw it, and I could see him like biting his lip. He wanted to give me spoilers. I hear that spoilers are a very big deal with this, but I'm excited about that. Back-to-back weeks, I'm going to big-time box office movies. So between all that, we got the Olympics
Mike,
going
how was
on.
Twister? I haven't talked about Twister. You saw Twisters?
Yeah,
Twisters.
I saw it at 40X. It was awesome. Fuentes also picked up like these. Chris, can you give me some of the magnets? It's behind the desktop computer. So like Glenn Powell drives this badass truck
Do they have
in
a
it.
popcorn box for it?
And it's nothing that you can have sex with anyways. But you can have sex with the Wolverine popcorn bucket that was designed for this movie. Fuentes got me a car magnet for my Jeep.
Looks like the Bulls logo, cease and desist.
It's it's like a Texan.
Like the Rock logo.
It's a longhorn
that
with
too.
a twister in the middle.
I love that.
So Twisters was
Fun?
great, and 40X is like a thing. People are like, you got to see it in 40X. That's how I saw it. It was a really enjoyable experience that way. But I'm
We
worried.
still call it 40 Twitter back here, okay?
Where did he get that from?
He got this. It was like a promo display. So I guess they didn't spend their money on popcorn buckets, Billy. They decided to spend their money on car magnets, so
But
you
does
could
he
look
know
like Glenn
someone?
Powell's car. He went to the Deadpool movie yesterday, and at the movie theater they just had a table where these were sprawled out, and he knew that I like Twister, so he very.
You can put it on your car?
My wife got excited about it. You know, this is it's a cool little logo. I was a big Twisters guy. I liked it, but I think that the.
Do I need to see the first Twister?
No, and it's a shame. It's a real shame because there was ample opportunity for callbacks to the first one, and there was like the occasional Easter egg, like Dorothy, the vessel in which they put up like all these little flying things for the data. Yeah. There was like, if you remember in the original movie, it was Dorothy 1 through 4. You see Dorothy 5 and all these other Dorothys, but not a lot of callbacks. It's also a little tougher since Bill Paxton has moved on.
Any May references?
No, dude. I thought, all right, certainly someone here is related to Helen Hunt.
Any references to when Roy referenced it that one time?
They didn't do. You haven't seen it. Miss this house, and miss that house, and come straight after you. What I liked about this film in particular is we're starting to see climate change climb into disaster movies, and this is a generational season for Twisters, and climate change is to blame for it, but they actually decide to fight climate change by actively fighting the climate. See, and that's kind of where I'm at with the
Wait,
sub.
to try to nuke the tornado?
Essentially. And it's a real cool way that they do it. So
Doesn't bode well for the election.
You can't put the toothpaste back into the tube. You can try to mitigate global warming, but it's a very difficult thing to police because usually the response whenever I tell someone that doesn't care that much about climate change is like, you have to do something. And they're like, what do you do about India? What do you do about China? And I'm like, I don't know, man. And then the debate ends. But so after being tired of that, I'm like, okay, this thing's coming. Tides are going to rise. Storms are going to get worse. What do we do to fight these things? Everyone's talking about preventative measures. We need to pivot to solutions and winning the war against the climate at this point. Because if it's ramping up its aggression, we need to fight it. So that's what you fight climate change by actively fighting the climate.
Well, the good thing is we've already won the war against the whales. I'm going to say that now. We won.
I mean, you lose a war to a 19-year-old boy in a boat. Like, that's not a good sign. So get this. This is not a spoiler because the movie kind of opens with this. Their whole theory on how to weaken a tornado is by taking the material that's inside of a diaper and just
poop?
No, not poop. The absorbent materials.
The fluffy stuff?
The absorbent materials that are inside of a diaper.
Like a maxi pad.
Kind of. Yes. Yeah. But I guess diapers were conjured up somehow a nicer image than a maxi pad. And all that material they would just put in the track of the tornado. Tornado would suck up this stuff that historically dries stuff out, and then it would weaken the storm. They fight the climate. They fight climate change.
We were riffing on maxi pads back here. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm sure that was one of the solutions, and they're like, we can't do maxi pads. That's too gross. Baby diapers, it's fine, because sometimes there's pee-pee in it. Yeah. But I don't think...
I can't repeat what I said earlier.
I don't think...
Go on.
Smegmatana. We're all workshopping here. I think week 2... I regret that. I'm sorry.
I regret that you said that too. Cut that.
We're live, baby. So I think week 2 in the box office is going to be a rough one for Twisters, though, because Deadpool and Wolverine is out, and everybody that has grown frustrated or even still has hope for Marvel is kind of hoping that this thing does well. Is anyone else going to see this movie? You're going?
Excited. I'm very excited. Although I never saw the first one, I've just heard good things about Glenn Powell, and generally not a lot of things to do in Miami in July. It is brutal out there. Sitting in a movie theater may be the only option.
Well, pretty soon we're going to have to be boarding up and stocking foods. Have you seen these Costco Doomsday? Boom! Have you seen the...
Scared Willow.
Have you seen the Costco Doomsday things? They're selling like these Doomsday packs at Costco.
Doomsday?
For like, for like $80.
Thank you for your restraint.
You're not familiar with this? They have like these Armageddon packs at Costco that you can buy for $80, which is like this big bin of non-perishable food that will last like 25 years. They're selling pretty well, as you can expect in an election year, especially in this country.
One thing you can do in July is go to the MMA Hangout at Casatique presented by Cuervo.
We didn't promote it enough?
By Cuervo.
Apparently not.
So yes, we did not promote it enough.
Is diaper lining a thing we can throw at the hurricanes too?
Ooh, wait.
I think we gave that too much reaction.
Oh.
I meant the Miami Hurricanes, of course.
All you need to do is like have clock management be there. And now we've thrown a 2-minute warning into the mix, so it's only going to be more confusing.
No.
God, no.
It's one of it's fair game, even though that was not a fumble. I'll just say that. I got that defensive stuff out of the way. It wasn't a fumble. But even when you play the CFB game and a player kneels, they talk about, well, I hope Miami's taking note. No, you tell that to Miami Georgia Tech. I'm like, guys,
they
like
built
I can't.
in Miami negs into the game.
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
I need to get this game.
I'm telling you, it's the best sports game ever made. When you consider the expectations, the hopes of what it had to live up to, and the fact that it's a very tricky sport to try to make a game around, it's the best sports game of all time. Tony, is that a hot take?
No, it's incredible. The gameplay, even when you run, you feel the gallop on the controller of them running.
best.
Like, it's just an incredible thing. The dynasty mode, the transfer portal, the way you recruit kids, like all of that stuff is amazing.
Oh, God, no.
When you have your baby, can I borrow your game system?
I'm going to be playing more.
You are. You are, Jeremy. You tried to.
Impossible
Yeah.
to play more when you have a baby. I keep telling you. I'm trying to give you realistic expectations.
Now's your time, man.
It's not.
It's not. I know. It's not. It's the haters that want me to not play anymore. That's what it is.
The haters want you to be a good parent. That's absurd.
You're going to be a better parent because of gaming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I had the struggle of I went and set up my home office because we recently moved, and I was setting up my home office, and I went and got my system out of the boxes that we had everything in, and set up the TV, and was all excited. Finally, put frames on the wall, everything. I'm ready to go sit and play the game.
Frames on the wall.
I update the system. It took hours to update
Because you hadn't turned it on.
because I hadn't turned it on in a while, and I was so excited to go play College Football 25, and then realized that my Xbox One was not compatible with the game.
Oh, no.
And I did not know that before the moment that I went to go purchase it. And now I'm left with the decision of, do I spend $500 on the PS5?
Gotta do some research
I know.
on that
Well,
one.
honestly, if it's even worse, is that I just kind of didn't realize what specific Xbox system I had. And so when I went to turn it on, I was like, oh, surely this will work. And I went to the online store, and I see it there, and I scroll over to buy, and then there's just in little tiny red font, not compatible with the system. It was, I was saying it honestly, this year, in terms of devastating moments, it's like Jimmy Butler's ankle turn number 1, that number 2.
Yeah, you got to get a PS5 because I made the move from Xbox One to PS5.
As did I.
Yeah, it's just the superior console.
It's just about whether or not that investment
It's worth it.
It is 1,000% worth it.
Oh,
This
God,
game,
money. Just
No,
move.
buy the
When's like the
hurricane shutters,
PS6
Jeremy.
coming
Yeah, that's what I'm
out?
saying.
who cares?
Hurricane shutters.
Probably in like 2 years, but now
Climate
like
change.
I was away from gaming for so long, and I had to figure out so many things that made me feel old about the PS5 that I was literally troubleshooting for like 2 years for this moment, but it was all worth it. Tony, you'd be happy to know that you're a Canon athletic director in my dynasty.
Wow, thank you, buddy.
Yeah, Peter Reese's Liberty has you as its athletic director. Yeah. Anytime I see a
I got
note
rid
about,
of Hugh Freeze?
Yeah. You
No.
brought in the Reverend Jefferson Montgomery, who made it to a national title game and then got blown out by
You're the
Jeremiah Smith,
athletic
who's a cheat
director?
code.
Oh, come on.
Or the head coach.
No, he's a Canon athletic director. Reverend Jefferson Montgomery is the head coach over at Liberty. He's
So you replaced Ken Starr, I believe?
yeah. Look, it's
On the
it's
up and up,
Liberty.
baby.
Everything there is pretty on brand. So much so that the Reverend got pulled over for a DUI off a Lime scooter outside of Buffalo Wild Wings. It Bills and Molly that weren't his.
I looked the other way, by the way.
He beat the case. He beat the
What do
case.
you think he did?
Yeah, but I had, as I mentioned, a great night last night in finally doing off-season mode, which is I was looking more towards off-season mode than actually playing the game, because some of my fondest memories was just getting on the headset, eating shit with my boys, and just doing the off-season recruiting cycle. And we had the transfer portal this year. Everything about it was great. Love the off-season, love the shit talk, love all the banter, love that we got 9 dudes all on the same calendar and got to do that. And I loved my routine. I cracked open a Miller Lite, and I sucked on a nicotine pouch, and I was loving life. Now, nicotine, as you know, highly addictive. Part of cigarettes, it's ruined so many things here. So if you're at all triggered about the nicotine and tobacco industry, I would say fast forward, because I'm going to say things about it that aren't going to paint it in the way that it's usually been painted. Ready? Have you fast forwarded yet? It's going to be a minute. I want to talk about a great American underdog story. Philip Morris. Well, welcome back to the conversation. You know, a lot of people have said bad things about you, and a lot of them are very true. But Philip Morris is building its first new factory since 1973. As you know, in this country, since the 90s, cigarette smoking, and we talked about smoking sections, it's all gone away because, rightfully, bad for you, terrible for you. Cigarettes, bad. It says it on the label. You could die if you smoke cigarettes. So, Philip Morris has found a way to bounce back. Why are they building their first new factory since 1973? Zins. Now, Chris Cody, you look like a textbook Zin brother, but you told me you're not familiar at all
It's
with
one
Zins.
it's one of these things that I've been embarrassed for a while now, because like you said, I'm around this world. I'm around people
are
that
Zin
have
adjacent.
Zin, and I'm like, and in my mind, without ever asking or doing research, I've just assumed it's the evolution of dipping, like tobacco.
You'd say you're Zin adjacent.
Right.
You get it.
But apparently I'm wrong. It's just straight nicotine.
It's a little like.
Do you still spit with it? Like if I put a
No
little
spit.
Zin
No
pouch
spit.
in my
No
lip.
spit.
No spit.
Okay. So
No
it's
spit.
like a clean
Which is,
spit.
I want to be very careful with my language because nicotine is highly addictive.
It's bad.
Nicotine,
It is addictive.
it's addictive. So why do I choose to Zin when I'm playing college football 25? There's a little bit of a buzz aspect to it. The good old 2 beer buzz, like that's if you do one and you hadn't done it in a while, you'll get that 2 beer buzz. But it's also like a little jolt of caffeine. So I like it. I can understand why people don't like it. I'm a softie. I just do the 3s. I've learned the hard way, folks. So Zin for Dummies, if someone tries to hand you a 6 for your first time, don't do it.
Do not take it.
Do not come. Don't do it.
I won't do that.
Don't. You training wheels with the 3s.
You got to build up to that.
If you do a 6 or a 9, or as I've learned, there are much greater things. So in Chicago, one of my friends doesn't do Zins. He does like the Swedish version of it because they're more potent. And I was informed that
Zins.
they're fun to say. Swedens. So Sweden has apparently come close to eliminating cigarette smoking because of how potent their nicotine pouches are. And if you've ever had a Swedish form of Zin, you know exactly what I'm talking about. My friend handed me a 10, and I was at the Palmer House in Chicago, and I was drenched in sweat inside of 5 minutes. I had the Zin spins. It was a real bad situation. But there are some animals out there. And Roy, there is a Zin culture in hockey. The hockey players are insane. The stories that I've heard are just truly bewildering. So I was at a golf tournament recently. There was a hockey player that had a hockey player as a caddy. This hockey player caddy had a tin of 45s. 45s.
How do you even make them that strong?
Who
is that for?
There's ones that are super strong. So like, this is all secondhand information. This was all relayed to me by Mike Golick Jr., who had heard this story from this caddy who had 45s on him. And he's like, oh, yeah, in hockey, it's a big thing. He said, I know several players that put pouches in between their toes for games.
Get the pores,
They
ingest
absorb the
yeah.
nicotine through their pores between their toes.
What if I just held it in my hand for like an hour?
If your hands get sweaty, like it would get
Yeah.
into your bloodstream. Yeah.
That'd be fun. I'll try that. Let me do some Zins through my hand. Anyone got any?
Why would you?
I'll
know
do
you
it right
got
now.
a
I'll try
hand?
Can
Zins
you
right
try-
now through my hand only, though.
No, can you try it between your toes? Let's put a couple of pouches.
I'll put it anywhere.
Hey.
A couple pouches. I could not believe that. These guys have essentially like 50 Zins like running through their veins through the course of a hockey
That
game.
could
as
kill
their
a
pores.
horse.
It can't kill this hockey. It can't kill a hockey
10.
player.
Mike, you took a 10.
I took a
Imagine
10.
4 times that.
I took a 10. I was sweaty. I was spinning everywhere. I had, I felt good. I should have spit it out, for like the 40 seconds that I was feeling good, because that's always an option. Occasionally, now that you know what they kind of look like, you'll see a fallen soldier here and there
Always.
on the side of the street. R.I.P. But, dude, the Zin spins are a very real thing, and you don't have to be a super, like, tough guy about it. If it's giving you the spin, spit it out, because it's going to take a minute for recovery. But, yeah, that's I only Zin while CFBing. And when I'm out with a big group of friends. Or if I'm at a WrestleMania, which is the first time I did it.
It makes a lot of sense for hockey players, especially during playoff time.
It gives you a little
Give you a
caffeine
buzz.
jolt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially for the overtime games.
So this is not a personal endorsement. I laid out my facts. You can do what you want, but apparently the margins for these Zins are great, and it's bringing convenience stores back, because if you go to a convenience store, you may or may
They
not
are
see
stacked.
Zins. Well,
There's
down
a great
here,
shortage though.
yeah, down
flavors.
here it's not so much of an issue, but they have to build this new factory to meet the demands. But they apparently make $1.50 off of each tin of Zin, which is incredible, because they make $1 only off of a box of cigarettes, and there's so much that goes into making a cigarette. There's harvesting the tobacco. It's
Filters.
just all that. The Zins, it's like a little nicotine salt, a little flavor that they put in like chewing gum, and boom. So they went from selling 5 million tins. Boom! 5 million tins a few years ago to what's happened, which has been this astronomical jump, they sell 550 million tins today.
Jeremy, clean this up for us.
Some of the negative health effects of the nicotine pouches include gastrointestinal symptoms like nausea, gum soreness, and ulcers, and also some cardiovascular risks like elevated heart rate.
Only if you're soft.
Oh, God. What are we doing?
Oh, God.
We're living a life of Zen, brother.